Have you ever laid in bed completely exhausted, feeling your body begging for rest, and yet your mind starts to function as if the day is just beginning? Has it ever happened that you close your eyes, try to relax, find a comfortable position, take a deep breath, and suddenly your head becomes flooded with worries, memories, anxiety, stress, negative thoughts, and even a silent sadness that seems to grow just at the time when you most need to sleep? If this happens to you, pay close attention, because today you will understand why so many people have difficulty falling asleep instantly, and why insomnia, nighttime anxiety, emotional stress, and even depressive states seem to get stronger when the light goes out and silence arrives. There is a scene that repeats itself every night in the lives of many people. The body is tired, the eyes are heavy, the day's routine was intense, the energy is gone, but when it's time to sleep, the mind refuses to switch off, and that's when the frustration begins. You try to sleep, turn on one side, turn on the other, look at the clock, realize that the minutes are passing, and what was supposed to be rest becomes a silent battle against your own head. The mind begins to remember problems, commitments, bills, old conversations, fears about the future, and everything that was saved throughout the day. And the more you think you need to sleep, the further away sleep seems to get. The most impressive thing is that many people believe that the problem is only with sleep, when in fact, in many cases, what is preventing deep rest is excessive alertness within the brain. The body wants to relax, but the mind remains in a state of vigilance. This happens because the brain doesn't just understand words, it responds to signals. And when you go to bed carrying tension, worry, anxiety, accumulated stress, recurring insomnia, or even emotional symptoms linked to depressive states, your nervous system may interpret that there is still something important to resolve. Instead of going into rest mode, he remains in survival mode. This is exactly why so many people suffer when trying to sleep. Because sleep doesn't come when you force it. Sleep comes when the brain perceives security. When this feeling of security appears, the body responds almost immediately. Breathing becomes calmer, heartbeat slows down, muscles begin to release tension, the mind loses strength, and the body enters the natural path of deep sleep. And this is where there is a very important twist. Learning how to fall asleep instantly does not mean forcing your mind to stop, but rather understanding how to send the right message to your brain to relieve anxiety, reduce stress, weaken the insomnia cycle, and create an internal environment of true rest. Maybe no one on the outside understands what you feel, but anyone who faces nights like this knows the weight it has. You know what it's like to wake up tired, spend the day exhausted, feel your concentration decrease, your mood is shaken, and your anxiety increases just thinking that the next night could be the same. Therefore, I want to ask you something now. Right here in the comments, my mind doesn't turn off, or I have difficulty sleeping, because I want to know what your nights are like, and because your comment can help other people to realize that they are not alone in this fight against insomnia, stress, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. And leave your like on this video, because when you do this, you help this content reach more people who are also looking for relief from insomnia, mental relaxation, and a natural way to sleep better. Because in the next section, I'm going to show you what really happens inside your body when your mind races at bedtime, and why understanding this can completely change the way you approach the night. Now let me ask you a very sincere question. What are your nights really like? When you lie down to sleep, does sleep come quickly, or does your mind start to race from one thought to another without stopping? Do you feel anxious before bed? Do you wake up several times during the night? Or do you spend long minutes, sometimes even hours, trying to find a way to finally relax and fall asleep? I really want to know this, because understanding your experience helps not only me, but also everyone watching this video right now. So do the following. Write a simple but very important sentence here in the comments. You can comment, "My mind doesn't turn off," "I suffer from insomnia," "I have anxiety at night," or even, "It takes me a long time to sleep." It may seem like just a common comment, but it has a much greater impact than you might think. Firstly, because I really read the comments and use this to understand what the biggest difficulties are for those who follow the channel. And secondly, because when someone who is if you are experiencing insomnia or nighttime anxiety, you read the comments and realize that many other people are experiencing the same situation, this creates a powerful sense of identification. The person understands that they are not alone in this experience. And if this content is already making sense to you so far, there is something very simple that can help many more people find this video. Leave a like. It may seem like something small, But likes play a very important role on YouTube. When you click the like button, the algorithm understands that this content is useful, relevant, and can help other people who are also searching for things like how to sleep better, how to fall asleep faster, how to relieve nighttime anxiety, how to reduce stress before bed, or how to overcome insomnia naturally. In other words, your like literally helps this video reach people who are right now tossing and turning in bed, trying to find a way to rest their minds. And if you've ever been through difficult nights, you know how much a simple guidance can make a difference. Another important thing, if you are not yet subscribed to the channel, this is a great time to subscribe. Here on the channel, I always bring content focused on mental relaxation, reducing anxiety, controlling stress, improving sleep quality, and natural techniques to help the brain slow down. Often, small changes in the way you prepare your body and mind before bed are enough to completely transform the quality of your rest. And when you subscribe and activate the notification bell, you will receive whenever new content about deep sleep, mental health, emotional balance, and well-being is published here on the channel. This means that you don't miss any techniques, any mental exercises, and any strategies that can help your mind relax faster at the end of the day. Now pay attention to something very important that we will explore next. There is a specific reason why your mind becomes so active right when you lie in bed. It's not just worry, it's not just stress, and it's not simply lack of sleep. In fact, there is a very clear mechanism within the nervous system that makes the brain remain alert even when the body is extremely tired. And understanding this mechanism is the first step to learning how to slow down your thoughts, alleviate nighttime anxiety, and teach your brain to naturally enter the state of deep relaxation that allows sleep to finally happen. That's exactly what we're going to start exploring now. Now imagine something curious happening inside your own body right now. There is literally a type of biological switch that can completely change the state of your mind. A silent mechanism that, when activated correctly, can slow down racing thoughts, relieve anxiety, reduce the day's accumulated stress, and help the brain to naturally enter the state that favors deep sleep. Many people who suffer from insomnia believe that they have no control over when they sleep. But the truth is that the human body has very intelligent systems that can be stimulated to facilitate mental and emotional relaxation. This hidden button, so to speak, is connected to something you do thousands of times a day and almost never notice: your breathing. Breathing is one of the most powerful tools that exist to influence the nervous system. When you are under pressure, have high anxiety, are worried, or are experiencing intense stress, your breathing pattern changes automatically. Breathing becomes short, rapid, and shallow. The brain interprets this pattern as a warning sign, as if something important is happening and requires attention. Now think about the opposite. In moments of tranquility, when the body is relaxed and the mind is calm, breathing becomes slow, deep, and regular. This type of breathing sends a very clear message of safety to the brain. This is exactly why learning to consciously control your breathing can be an extremely powerful strategy for anyone looking to alleviate insomnia, reduce nighttime anxiety, and learn how to fall asleep faster. There is a simple technique, well known in studies on nervous system relaxation, called 4-7-8 breathing. Although the name seems technical, in practice it is extremely simple to apply, and many people report that they can feel a difference in their level of mental relaxation after the first few tries. The first step is to prepare the body for this slowing down process. Lie down comfortably, without trying to find the perfect position. This is more important than it seems, because when someone is suffering from insomnia, it is common for the search for ideal position generates more anxiety. The goal here isn't perfection, it's just to allow the body to begin to relax. Let your head rest naturally on the pillow, release your shoulders, and allow your arms to hang loosely at your sides. Now look at your jaw. Many people keep their jaw clenched without realizing it, especially after a day full of worries or emotional tension. So let your jaw loose, relax your tongue inside your mouth, and allow your entire face to lose that tension that often builds up without us realizing it. Now the main part of the technique begins. Inhale slowly through your nose while mentally counting to 4. You don't need to pull the air in forcefully. Just allow the air to enter gently and deeply. Then hold the air for a count of 7. This small moment of pause creates an important change in the way the body processes breathing. After that, slowly release the air through your mouth while counting to 8. Imagine that you are blowing out a candle slowly, without rushing. This detail is fundamental, because when exhaling is longer than inhaling, the brain receives a very strong signal of relaxation. This process activates the so-called parasympathetic nervous system, which is the system responsible for slowing down the body. It is what reduces the heart rate, reduces muscle tension, lowers the level of anxiety, and creates the ideal conditions for the brain to enter a state of deep rest. Many people who suffer from chronic stress or racing thoughts spend a large part of the day with their alert system activated, and this technique works as a way to teach the body to return to its natural state of calm. But there is a second element that makes this process even more effective, especially for those who feel that their body is tense at bedtime. This element is progressive body relaxation. Instead of trying to turn off your mind directly, you start by relaxing your body, and little by little your mind follows this process. Start by bringing your attention to your forehead and allow it to relax completely. Then loosen the muscles around your eyes. Relax your cheeks and loosen your jaw even more. Then notice the weight of your head on the pillow and allow your neck to relax. Let your shoulders sink slightly, as if all the tension from the day is draining out of your body. Now bring your attention to your arms and hands, allowing them to feel heavy and relaxed. Then go to the belly area. This point is extremely important because many people keep their abdomen contracted when they are anxious or stressed. As you exhale, let your belly relax completely. This simple gesture sends a profound signal of security to the brain. After this, allow your hips, thighs, knees, and calves to relax. Finally, release your feet completely. While doing this, there is a small mental resource that can further help you slow down your thoughts. With each exhale, mentally repeat a simple word such as calm or loose. This type of association creates a mental rhythm that helps the mind slow down the flow of thoughts. And here comes a detail that completely changes the way we deal with racing thoughts before bed. Instead of trying to block out your thoughts, you just observe and label what is happening. If a random idea comes up, you mentally recognize it as a thought. If a memory comes from the past, just identify it as memory. If worry about the future arises, recognize it as worry. This small act of labeling creates a psychological distance between you and the thought. Instead of getting emotionally involved with it, you just observe and return to your breath. Over time, this process helps the brain lose the urge to continue producing sequential thoughts. And it is exactly at this point that many people begin to feel the first signs of deep relaxation, such as the body becoming heavier, the muscles looser, and the mind becoming quieter. But there is still an extremely powerful detail that can enhance this relaxation technique much more and speed up the process of falling asleep. A detail that directly influences nighttime anxiety, the mental stress accumulated throughout the day, and the brain's functioning pattern before bed. Interestingly, this factor is present in practically everyone's routine nowadays, and most people don't even realize how much it can be interfering with the quality of sleep and the natural process of turning off the mind. And it is precisely this point that we will talk about next. But before continuing, I really want to hear about your experience. If you've made it this far in the video, write one of these phrases here in the comments. I'm going to test this technique today, or I want to overcome insomnia, or even my mind thinks too much at night. If you want, also tell me how long you usually take a while to sleep. Your comments really help the channel reach more people who are looking for natural ways to relieve anxiety, reduce stress, and ultimately get better sleep. Even when a person learns powerful relaxation techniques, such as deep breathing to slow down the mind, progressive body relaxation, or even strategies to reduce nighttime anxiety, there is often still a silent factor sabotaging the entire process of falling asleep. And the curious thing is that this factor is present in most people's routine every night. It seems small, harmless, and even a normal part of modern everyday life, but it may be directly interfering with the quality of deep sleep, emotional balance, and the brain's ability to naturally enter a state of rest. This factor is cell phone use before bed. Nowadays, it is extremely common for the last stimulus the brain receives before bed to be a phone screen. Many people lie in bed and before trying to sleep spend a few minutes, or sometimes much more than that, scrolling social media, watching videos, responding to messages, or following the news. At first glance, this seems like just a way to relax, to have a little distraction before bed, but inside the brain the effect can be exactly the opposite of what you imagine. There is a very important biological mechanism that regulates our sleep and wake cycle. This mechanism is directly linked to the production of a hormone called melatonin. Melatonin is often known as the sleep hormone. It is naturally released by the brain when the environment begins to get dark. signaling to the body that the day is coming to an end and that it is time to slow down. This process is part of what we call the biological clock, or circadian rhythm, which regulates various functions of the body throughout the day and night. The problem is that the light emitted by screens, especially the so-called blue light, directly interferes with this natural process. When you look at your cell phone screen at night, your brain interprets that light stimulus as a sign that it is still daytime. In other words, the brain receives a mixed message. Even though the clock ticks late at night, the presence of bright light tells the nervous system that it is not yet time to produce melatonin. And when melatonin production decreases, the body finds it more difficult to begin the process of falling asleep. This means that even if you are physically tired, your brain continues to function in a moderate state of alert. This is one of the reasons why many people report that they feel sleepy before picking up their cell phone. But after a few minutes using the device, their mind seems to become more awake, more active, and full of thoughts. In addition to the light from the screen, there is another element that makes the cell phone even more stimulating for the brain: the constant flow of information. Every short video, every post on social media, every message received generates small discharges of dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is a neurotransmitter linked to motivation and interest. In other words, it keeps the mind engaged and curious. This is great during the day when we need to be alert and productive. But at night, this type of stimulation can keep the brain in a state of activity when it should be preparing for rest. That's why many people notice that, after a few minutes of browsing on their cell phone, their mind starts to race. New thoughts arise, new worries appear, memories of the day come back to the surface, and, without realizing it, the brain enters that cycle of mental activity again that makes deep sleep difficult. This process can increase feelings of nighttime anxiety and even contribute to recurring episodes of insomnia. For this reason, an extremely simple change can produce surprising results for anyone who wants to improve the quality of their sleep and learn how to fall asleep faster. This change consists of creating a small gap between using your cell phone and going to sleep. Try to set a space of approximately 20 to 30 minutes before bed where you simply disconnect from screens. This period works as a kind of transition between the fast pace of the day and the relaxed state that the body needs to fall asleep. During this interval, the brain begins to naturally reduce the level of stimulation. Melatonin production gradually increases. Thoughts begin to slow down and the body begins to recognize that the moment of rest is approaching. Many people who adopt this habit report that they notice a significant difference in the ease of falling asleep and the quality of sleep throughout the night. Another important aspect that can help a lot in this process is ambient lighting. Very bright lights indoors, especially bright lights in tense hips, can also send warning signals to the brain. Dimming lights at night using softer or yellower lighting and creating a calmer environment can help the nervous system understand that the rhythm of the day is slowing down. There's also an additional factor that greatly influences the functioning of our biological clock: the regularity of bedtime. The human brain works very well when there is predictability. When you sleep at completely different times every day, your body finds it more difficult to regulate its natural sleep cycle. But when there is a relatively consistent pattern, something very interesting starts to happen. Over time, the brain begins to anticipate the time to sleep. Shortly before the usual time, the body automatically begins the process of preparing for rest. Melatonin levels increase, body temperature changes slightly, and the feeling of drowsiness begins to appear more naturally. This process shows something extremely powerful about how the human mind works. The brain learns through repetition. In the same way that it can learn patterns of anxiety, worry, or insomnia, it can also learn patterns of relaxation, tranquility, and deep sleep. When you create a small nighttime ritual, turning off the screens, dimming the lights, and applying simple breathing or relaxation techniques, the nervous system begins to associate these signals with bedtime. After some time, just starting this ritual may be enough for the body to automatically begin to slow down. The mind becomes calmer. The accumulated stress of the day decreases and the transition to sleep happens much more naturally. Now I really want to know something about you who are watching this far. If you reached this part of the video, write the phrase "I'm going to train my brain to sleep" in the comments. This helps me understand how many people are truly committed to improving their sleep. If you often feel anxious before bed or notice that your mind races at night, you can also comment, "My mind doesn't turn off at night," or "I want to beat insomnia." I always read the comments, and often the ideas for the next videos arise precisely from the experiences you share here. And if this content is helping you better understand how to relieve stress, reduce anxiety, and improve the quality of sleep naturally, take the opportunity to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, because this way you continue to receive content that can help your mind find more balance, more rest, and much more peaceful nights. See you